present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring in Whitney Capital. When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Yo, man, even today, that's some powerful stuff.
That's it.
Even today, man. Your thoughts, bro?
I mean, it resonates, like you said, even today. I mean, even if you think about what's going on in Israel and you think about what's going on just around the world in Ukraine and Poland, and what he was talking about is very much relevant, even to like he said, this particular day and everything. And some of the things that he wanted, I don't know that we're quite there. We're on our way there, but you still got people that are upset when they see African Americans and European Americans working together or dating or doing other things together and everything. But you know, he was definitely talking about a day when folks could work together and be proud together and all along those lines. But I don't see that we are seeing enough of that. And even some of the divisions that he was talking about, even when he mentioned the Catholics and the Protestants, the Gentiles and the Jews, and a number of other things, those are divisions that we're even seeing in the year 2024. So definitely it is still resonating so much with so many people, and it is definitely a message that needs to be heard and definitely encouraged. But you got people that are wanting us to quote unquote make America great again, which is, as my friend Jim Heath says, that really means, and he's a European Americans that make America white again and everything, because that's really what they're talking about, is trying to roll back the times and not have us move forward. You know, we got to be moving in a positive and forward direction, not in a backwards direction. But you got some folks that are in control that would love to have us to go back to the 1950s, even before Dr. King was around and everything. And I think that there's enough like-minded people, and as you like to tell me, I'm one of those folks, light warriors, that will not allow that to happen and all in that space. But that's just what I'm thinking, that we got to have more of this kind of positive conversation and positivity that can make a positive change in the world and not have it go in a regressive manner.
I agree. I think because this is it's almost like, now that, you know, we're working together, you see more people in this country. What's up, Kev? You see more people in this country now willing to work together, because the smart people, and I don't mean dumb people or educated people or nothing like that. I'm just saying the smart people know the best bet is to bet on each other. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't be mad or hold grudges or be pissed off about some stuff that I basically had no control over.
Right.
So that only clouds my thought process to be successful, you know, and the goal in any business, whatever you're doing, music, sports, whatever, art, whatever you're doing, politics, whatever, is to try to be as successful as you can, so you can then take that success and that gift and give it back. You know, one of the best books I read, Eleanor Bonner, she said a quote, the purpose of life is to find your gift. The meaning of life is to give it back. You know what I'm saying? Dolores Cannon speaks about that a lot. Of course, you know, Jesus spoke about that a lot, to give back. You know, all of the great teachers and leaders, be they prophets, be they musicians, be they artists in their artwork, it was all about the give back. You know, when Da Vinci was painting the Sistine Chapel, he really was doing it for the times, but he knew it was going to stand the test of time. It was about the give back, you know. All the great, you know, writers and poets, and look at Maya Angelou. I read her stuff at least twice a month. I go back and catch quotes from her, you know, watch video clips of her. She was one of the greatest inspirational teachers this world has ever had, you know. And again, I don't know what's going on with the books in the library. I don't follow all of that. But you know what? Certain things are worth fighting for, and certain things are worth, you know, preserving. And I just think that books and libraries are one of them. That's just my personal opinion about it. Because, I mean, when you go to the library, it's quiet. You can focus. You can read. You can get your thoughts down. You know, everything doesn't always have to come through the phone. You know, we use our laptops and our phones and our tablets and all of that stuff. Yeah, we need all of that. It's a tool. Don't forget that. Don't misuse the tool. Prince said, don't let the computer lay on you. I just watched a Prince interview the other day. I watch a Prince interview at least once a week. That brother was profound, man, and still is. And he said, man, use the computer. Don't let the computer use you. And this was way before social media had actually blew up. He warned us. He also taught us that ownership, own your music, put it on your own site, clothing, apparel, what have you. Buy your own, make people come to you to buy your stuff. Don't just let anybody willy-nilly be out there doing it, man. Hey, let me ask you something. Yeah. Your thoughts, really quick, while we're waiting on my guy, Mr. Michael Salter, and I see he's on his way in somewhere. You know, your thoughts on the thing with the library and the books. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you got some people that are scared of books, and like you just said, the powers of books is what they can tell you. You got some people that literally want to ban books that are not negative in whatsoever. There have been books that have been talked about being banned that are being banned because they are thought that they might encourage certain racial views and everything. You got some people that want to ban Tom Sawyer, or they want to ban 1619 Project, or they want to ban this or that because they don't like the way that the people are presenting the story and everything. But I've always been told that, you know, you need to get the varying viewpoints and the varying things along those lines. You don't have to necessarily agree with every book that's out there, but you also don't need to be banning them. I mean, I think about some of the books that were classics that I remember reading and enjoying reading, like Catcher in the Rye, and I don't think that those books need to be banned in the least bit and everything, or even Clockwork Orange. There have been people that wanted to ban Clockwork Orange and a number of other books because they didn't like what the book was saying and everything. And a friend of mine actually had a very interesting thought. If you look at some of the things that they are banning books for, because they are afraid that the book mentions things around drugs, or mentions things around race, or mentions things around a number of other things that are out there, including violence and including treatment of people and everything. There are some major books out there that would be banned, including, I hate to say it, if they use that yardstick and actually use the yardstick the way that it could be used and everything, they could even possibly ban the Bible. And that is a scary thought. But there are some people out there that if they put that the narrative of what they are banning, the reasons that they're banning the books, like because they are talking violence or they're talking a number of other things, a lot of those are part of the holy book, whether it's the Bible or the Quran or a number of other books as well. But definitely, just like I said, I'm not a big fan of banning books whatsoever. I think that books and libraries should be institutions that are encouraged. But I see that your guest is here, so I'm here to bounce on out, and we can bring on Mr. Michael, because Michael is here, and all along those lines.
Okay, so hold on. So he's in?
Yeah, he's in.
All right, cool. So let me do this. Let me set him up.
All
right. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I got my guy taking the time out of his busy schedule. We're gonna pump him up. You know, he flew in on the Temptation ship, you know, and he got dropped off with a parachute, dropped into funk from the front seat. He's going to be bringing us the real deal. We're going to be chopping it up. We got plenty of time as long as this brother wants to sit with us and chat. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, first time, many times to come, my guy, Michael Salter III is in the front seat with us. What up, bro?
What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon.
Good. How you doing, man? Thank you.
Blessed and highly favored, man. How you?
I'm all right, man. Thank you for joining us, man. First of all, I always ask my guests how your family is and how you doing. And shout out to everybody on the thread. Please keep that active. I love you guys. How your family doing and how you doing?
Everybody's doing fine. You know, my mom, you know, she's in a nursing home, but battled dementia, but she is coming along just fine. My father's doing okay at his hometown, which is my hometown also, Jacksonville, Alabama. Okay. Where he has spent 30 years working for Chrysler the year I was born until he retired in 1996. And so he got a house built off the ground. And recently he had tripped, fell down at home. Where he messed his ankle up. So me and my sisters, we just went down there back in early November to make sure that he's all taken care of everything. So right now he's remaining in the hospital until his ankle will get completely healed. But other than that, he's coming on just fine. You know, age is not stopping him. You know, he's still hit to everything that's going on at 81 years young. And my mom, even though she's bound to mention, but she's 77 years strong. So they're doing just fine. They still here.
What's your parents' name?
Sarah and Michael Salter Jr.
Sarah and Michael Salter Jr., thank you for having an amazing son and an amazing family. So we love you. We sending peace, love, and harmony out to you, man. So check this out, bro. We got a lot to chop up. I hope you can spend some time. If not, we'll do a part 2, 3, and 4 as long as you want. You're regular now. So what got you into music from the get-go, and where were you born?
Well, I was born in Jacksonville, Alabama in 1966 and was raised here in Detroit, Michigan. I lived in Marietta, Georgia between 2014 and 2016 for a pretty short moment. But then when I realized that my sister has, you know, stage 4 cancer and lupus, and she's coming along very, very strong too, she beat it. You know, she beat that. Well, in other words, she defeated the enemy. Okay. So she's battling lupus also, but she is normal, doing fantastic. My younger sister, she's doing fine. She don't have no reports of sickness or anything like that. Me being in the music business, man, I was 6 years old, okay, as a singer. Then I started dancing at 8 years old, choreographing 16 years old. So to be in this business for 52 years, you know, it's something that I always love doing, and I'm not going to stop until God tells me to stop.
That's the most important thing, man, because you have a spiritual essence about you that I picked up on right away, even though we've never physically met. We talked on the phone to prep this show for about at least 20, 30 minutes the other day, I would say, right? And we talked a lot about, you know, life. I always do that with my guests because I'm so, you got prayers coming in, bro, because that's what the funk from the front seat does. We bring prayers to the table for people. But, yeah. We talked a lot about life, and I dug your vibe, man. So you grew up 1966. You're born. I got you by I'm 58, so I got you by about like 8 years. But before you came on, Mark and I was talking about the music of the 60s and the soundtrack of all of the racial tensions and the Vietnam War and all of the negative, you know, hateful, divisive things that were happening in politics in our neighborhoods. Tell me your thoughts, because obviously you're with Paul Williams Jr., whose father was the original Temptations. So for my audience, that's the timeline. Tell me your thoughts on about what you was listening to and how it affected you and how it made you want to do what you do.
That's a pretty good question. Going back to certain songs, which, in other words, revolutionary songs that came out at the time being, you look at Paul Williams when the legendary Paul Williams Sr., and the rest of the guys when they were singing Ball of Confusion. Okay, I could relate to that. I could relate to Edwin Starr singing War. I could relate to Timmy Thomas singing Why Can't We Live Together? Okay, those type of songs really had inspired me, and especially the Edwin Hawkins singer's "Oh Happy Day."
Oh
So,
God, yes.
uh, so my parents, and it was my mom, and it was my grandmother, and God rest her soul. Um, it was those kind of songs that had me encouraged, you know. Um, and the best thing, my grandma, her favorite scripture, she always would say, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want." She would share that, and ever since, she said that it had me reading the Bible when I was 6 years old, and so
Amen.
my faith in God has never had stopped.
Yeah.
But when you listen to those songs, and I mean, let's even go back to 1971. I believe that was the year when John Lennon even said "Imagine." So you look at all these songs, and they tell you the story about life. Even when Martin Luther King, and here it is, Monday is this natural holiday. So
That's right. That's right.
we continue to say, "I have a dream." Why? It's because we dream it every single day. We dreaming for success. We dreaming to continue to have faith. We dreaming to still be encouraged and stay motivated, and not let anything get in your way, because it's always going to be one individual that's going to try to steal your joy. But you have to cast those cares and keep on moving, being encouraged, being connected, being restored, because you're going to be rewarded if you keep on, continue your faith in God. You got to trust in Him. Okay. And with all the problems and difficulties that we are facing in this world today, I always say it in the words of Kenneth Gamble, when he says that in this day of confusion, we must find the problem of the root in order to solve it. And that truth is a knowledge, how can I say it? In this day of confusion, we must find the problem of the root in order to solve it. That truth is a lack of communication beyond man and woman, or I should say among man and woman, therefore the wrong interpretation of life and life purpose has been exposed. So I try to tell everybody, you only got one life to live. You have to live it in peace, truth, love, and harmony. The OJ said it themselves. There's a message in the music, and there's a message in the song. Come along, sing along, understand why you dance. Otherwise, open your ears and listen here.
Yo, preacher, bro. Yo, I'm digging it, because I knew, that's what I was telling you all week. I knew this was going to be a fire show, because we all are on, a lot of my listeners, it doesn't matter if they believe, agnostic, none of that stuff matters. What matters is the love that we all have for humanity. And that's why I think the music back then gave us relief. I used to watch my father and my sisters and, deal with the struggle. My dad, I carry his NAACP card to this day in my wallet for that reason. But there was always a joy, right? It was like they knew it was downtrodden. Of course, there was sadness because things were being burnt down all over the country. But when a song would come on, and you mentioned some of those great songs, I remember hearing, "Ooh, child, things are good." That brought a sense of like, okay, we got this. We got this, man. And shout out to my Native American brothers and sisters, because they caught the tail end, the beginning and the end, and are still. So we must never forget those brothers and sisters that were originally here.
Absolutely.
So what did you do in high school when it comes to music?
I sang in the men's chorus when I was a freshman in high school under the direction of Mr. Tillis Butler, who was a great, great vocal teacher and vocal exercise teacher as well. I mean, he was amazing, and God rest his soul. He had, passed on, but learning a lot from him gave me the ability to also try to teach other folks their notes, as far as, whatever they're saying, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, baritone, and I will always carry that tradition for what he had, showed me, and as well as other different choirs who I had sung with in years past, from going back way back to my teenage days at Great Little Tabernacle Church of God in Christ, to where I'm at right now, 27 years at Fellowship Chapel under the direction of Reverend Wendell Anthony, who is our pastor, he just recently celebrated his 74th birthday, and this is going on his 36th pastor anniversary. So he is the president of the Detroit branch NAACP, where he had carried that tone for the last 31 years and 10 and a half terms.
when we
or better yet, 15 and a half turns.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But
But I
other
want
than
to say, when we look back at our generation of school, we always all of us say, man, we were so fortunate because we had school training, we had church training, we had the Motown stuff, the slide, the this, to that. We had so much to draw from. And that's why when I get further into your interview here and we're hanging out with the amazing Michael Salter III, taking time to hang out with his Temptations review, of course, featuring Paul Williams Jr. and his Paul Williams was the original guy. We were fortunate to have all of that. And I think that's what made us spiritual. Not so much about religion, but it was spiritual. Because all of that music that came out, it made you feel a certain way. Last week, I had my big brother Ken Knox on for chairman of the board, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's my guy, man. And he's my guy. And his guy, the general, wrote that song Patches. And I told him, first time I heard that song, it made me cry.
You know what? Let me say this, because when I first heard Patches, well, first of all, I thought it was a Motown song by the Four Tops, and I had to, look at the research, and there was Clarence Carter.
Yes.
That song, but the general wrote that.
Yes.
Didn't even know that. Didn't know that.
That's
and
right.
that was one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. I think, like you said, man, Motown was such a force, a driving force. When I was telling before you popped in, when I saw the Temptations, those 5 beautiful black men on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh, yes.
In sync, singing live. No tapes, no this, no that. Real notes. And they were on my screen. It gave me hope as a black kid, like, damn, I could do that. How did you feel when you first realized Motown was what it was?
Absolutely. And, when I was raised in Detroit, we stayed on, me and my family, we stayed in Virginia Park area, which we weren't that far from the Motown when it was actually still going on before they moved their headquarters in the late 60s. And then around 1987, they changed it to a museum. So I wasn't that far from there. And my mother, she had so many Motown 45 collections. So it just shows you how much she was more into music.
Yeah, I know, everybody I talked to that was born there or raised there or went there or whatever and was in that vibe, they all have amazing stories. I got to ask you a quick side question. The Funk Brothers, your thought on the Funk Brothers?
Totally awesome.
Right? No words.
It's not really much to be said. I mean, these guys was just awesome. I mean, under Berry Gordy, who's still going strong at, 94 years strong. And, all these guys had a job, okay? James Jamerson, perhaps the best bass guitar player ever. Bob Babbitt, the list goes on and on. They knew what they was doing. So before, all this funk came along, 1959, when Berry Gordy had a vision, there it was right there. He hired musicians, he hired songwriters, he hired executives. He hired Martha Reeves to work in the office before she became famous. And it wasn't until she came out with Heat Wave and, Dancing in the Streets and, and all that great music that she put in, she was working under Berry Gordy. And when Marvin Gaye came out with the song Stubborn Kind of Fella in 1962, he had Martha Reeves and the Vandellas singing background. So it just it shows you, how much history that there is. And the Funk Brothers was just a unique, awesome, powerful band. And if you look at now, I mean, a decade later, look at Mother, Father, Sister, Brother, who was MFSB, which is an outstanding 32 to 40 piece orchestra that came out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where they got their message from. That's what they learned from the Motown sound. Kenny Gamble, Leon Huff learned from the Motown sound. Then you got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Not only did they learn from Motown, but they learned from their perspectives, Gamble and Huff. So the list goes on. The tradition lives.
Yeah. Stevie Wonder, Ashford and Simpson.
Yeah,
Smokey.
they were all great songwriters.
Yo, man, it was insane. I couldn't believe Motown was spitting out records daily.
Yeah, and then you look at everybody had a job, Holler Doja Holland worked with the Supremes and the Four Tops. And then you had who else? Norman Whitfield, that came up later. Stevie Wonder, who was playing the harmonica, and Berry Gordy was impressed by his talents and everything, So everybody had some, everybody became great artists, but they learned how to write songs like Marvin Gaye, and of course Smokey Robinson, and of course and Stevie Wonder, So this just carries on and on and on.
Yeah, but bro, I can tell you this, right? I'm adopted, but my mother, Hetty, my mother who adopted me, she took me to the Apollo. I saw Marvin Gaye and the Motown Review. Marvin Gaye was playing drums, bro.
Right, absolutely.
I was like 5 years old. Little Stevie was no more like than little Stevie doing fingertips, right? I actually seen this stuff, and to this day, I'll never forget, like, when I realized Marvin went up front to sing, I was like, man, he was a genius coming out of church playing piano. He was playing drums, bro. It's like,
Marvin was amazing. He was amazing. Stevie Wonder played the drums as well.
Yes. Mark, you back there, man? I want to pull up some of those pics, and then we'll get to that video. We're hanging out with my guy, Michael Salter III. So tell us a little bit about your solo career, man, before we get into what you're doing with the review. Tell us about your solo career, what you're doing.
My solo project is still in the works right now. I'm working on probably about 6, 7, 8 tracks right now from the start. And I credit Steve Mills, who's our music promoter, engineer, and music movie director as well. He did a lot of music scores for certain shows on NBC, certain movies like The Batman, and then Chicago Fire, Chicago Med. The list goes on and on. So the talent that he has, at 45 years young and everything, and then doing the work on my album, of course, with Artima, who's an outstanding songwriter and choir director from her church. So when you get ready to hear this album, you're gonna be amazed. It's more of it's definitely R&B with some 70s groove and pop funk and romance. So it's all coming along. So it's more like in the like the 70s disco area.
Yo, let me tell you something. People try to always categorize music. And me and my guy Kevin and Dr. We talk about this all the time. There ain't no category. It's just music, right? And I can't. I don't really fuss at people about this. It doesn't bother me. But internally, I always wondered why people always want to put labels on things, because Prince and Jimi Hendrix and Sly and the Motown and this and that and P-Funk and Bootsy, all the music, Chaka Khan, all the girls, Earth, Wind and Fire. It's just music. It's music. And the eras change, the sounds change, the styles change, but the vibration stays. And that's why, how do you feel about when we talk about music being a spiritual vibration and the only language we all speak?
That's not a problem. Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff have a phrase about music. Their form of music, when they say music, is M, music, I, understanding, S, spiritual, I, let me get this right. M, music, U, understanding, S, spiritually, I, information, C, clearly. So that's music, understanding, spiritual, information, clearly. Leon Huff even said the same thing. You won't feel the move unless you feel the groove. That you have to understand. Everybody should understand. Everybody had a message, okay? I don't know if you remember when Rufus Chaka Khan did his 1978 classic called At Your Best.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Maurice White, Earth, Wind and Fire, That's the Way of the World. A year later, Maurice White, and it almost made me broke down. At 10 years old, I heard a song that Maurice White did called Burning Bush. It came from the Spirit.
Yes.
So you actually know what I'm talking about. And then the OJs. Every OJ's album that they had in the 70s I love, but the one that inspired me most is the Survival album. I guess you know that.
Survival, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think that's the best, if I had to say one of the most romantic songs the OJ's made, there have been so many, but Let Me Make Love to You was the one that got me. And then the other song on there, on that album, 1975 Survival, was How Time Flies. That is my favorite, more than likely OJ song of all time. Now I love them all, but How Time Flies, it took me back when I was 9 years old. My uncles did nothing but listen to the OJs. It wasn't anything else that they didn't want to listen to but the OJs.
Yo, let me tell you something, right? See, now here's the thing. Within the community battle of music, those groups used to battle on the record. You could tell if the Four Tops came out with something, the Temps was gonna be like, "Yo, I'm coming with this."
Absolutely.
And then the OJs would be like, "No, hold up. It's only three of us, but we can grind." My thing was when they came out with For the Love of Money, and Anthony, the bass player, had wrote that for them.
Yes,
Anthony Jackson. And when I heard that, we all heard that. I think it was 1972, 73, bro. 73. For the Love of Money. And we was like, what?
Yeah.
Is that possible? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. That came out the Ship Ahoy album in 1973, but they made it here in 1974.
Yes. Oh, this is such a great interview, bro. Yes, You're making me so happy. My audience, I'm sure, is digging it, man. We hanging out with Michael Salter. We're gonna run a few of these picks, man, before we run that video for you, man. Okay. And this is the current group, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, going from my screen left to right, who is who?
The group consists of, on the left-hand side, that is W.T. Williams, who just celebrated his 65th birthday on January 1st, New Year's Day.
Wow.
Next is Terry Horn, who is like by the way, W.T. is the bass singer. Terry Horn is the second tenor of the group and lead tenor as well. Then you got Paul Williams Jr., who is in the middle. He is the son of the legendary Paul Williams Sr., and if you look at his face, you can tell that he looks just like his daddy.
Just like him.
And sounds just like his father as well. He's a baritone, and he's versatile like me. We'll go anywhere as far as first tenor, second tenor, high pitched octave voices, bass, baritone. That's what we do. I'm tenor in this group as well as baritone, so I'm floating around different aspects. And then you got Sturgis Morton, the tall guy on the right. He's the falsetto first tenor.
Okay. Before we move on to the next one, Mark, hold this picture for a second. I got to ask you, who's the backup band?
Who's your
backup? Who's the band?
We working on a band right now. The band that we have right now is performing overseas and everything, and they are working with other groups right now, but they are also with us. So right now we're using tracks right now. So once all that track stuff is over, they're gonna be back with us.
Hey, that's the way to do it, man. And shout out to everybody to just remember you can do both. It's perfectly okay. Absolutely. You gotta mix the new school with the pro school, the old school with the good shit, track it, not track it. It's all about the message in the music, man. All right, Mark, go to the next one, please, sir. Thank you, sir. You're on it. You get breakfast today. Yeah, I gotta feed him. You can't feed him before the show. He's somewhere else. I'm in Raleigh. He's in Durham. But I always stop by and make sure I feed him. So when he does well, he gets fed. But when he does badly, he don't get no food.
That's all right.
There you go, shining. And I love the fact that you guys are clean as a whistle, as my father used to say, sharp as Dick's hat band. I never knew what that meant, but Reverend Robinson used to say that, man. Go to the next one, Mark. Okay, here we go. I'll let you take it.
In case you don't know, this woman, she really need no introduction. I'm going to tell you right now, she's been in this field a mighty long time. She's about to get ready, and I hope she ain't listening, but she's almost 83 years old now. That's Martha Reeves.
And she was a Motown.
Yes, a Motown legend.
A legend.
I had the opportunity to meet Martha Reeves in 1986 when I was working as a busboy, just watching for Big Boy. And I can tell you about Martha. She knows everything about Motown. To me, she should have been a teacher as far as I'm concerned, or because she knows everything. She worked for Berry Gordy. They went on to great success as a female group, and had a lot of great hits and everything. Then she went solo to start doing her thing. She's working with a couple of ladies with some new Vandellas. She was a one-time member of the Detroit City Council, where she was there for a short time, but now she's continuing to do her singing. Singing is not going to stop her. She's going to keep on moving and grooving, and she's a great speaker. She just loves to talk. But other than that, down to earth woman, man. She knows everything about Motown, and that's why we call her a Motown diva legend.
Yo, let me ask you something, man. And I'm gonna ask you. I'm not putting it on blast or nothing, but if you ever get a shout and a chance, man, to shout her out, man, please. If you could get her on with you and come back, I'd love to talk to both of you, but I'd love to talk to her as well. So if you on the side, I'll call you, put me in touch with her, man, because I'm all for sharing the story of all the women in the struggle in the music game too. A lot of the Funketeers, Dawn and Sheila and Linda Scheider and, Donna Sneed and, all the Funkadelic women and all the women that are out there. I even reached out to Chaka. She didn't get back to me yet, but she sent me a heart. I got a heart emoji from Chaka Khan that I saved and took a screenshot of because I congratulated her for going into the Hall of Fame, and it took so long, and we know why she didn't get in, the whole Black Panthers thing, but that's another show. But this woman here, I would love to talk to her, man, when you come back next time, man, and some of your crew too. We got one more, and shout out, Martha, we love you, man. We know that you're a queen. We got one more, and then we're going to show this video. Nice job, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, those are the guys I had just mentioned earlier. These are the same brothers, W.T. Williams, Sturge Moreland, myself, Paul Williams, and Terry Horn.
Right. And Mark, my producer, says one of Martha's singers, Jason Epps. Is that it? Jason Epps?
Okay.
Here in Durham. And she was a member of Martha Rizzo. So yeah, we'll get her on, Mark. Run that video, and then I'm gonna bring my producer on because he wants to chat you up for a second. But we got a great show. This is hot. Thank you for coming on. I'm loving it. You guys out there are active on the chat line. We love all you guys. Stay active, man, because I'm telling you, this whole year we're going to be doing this, and May is our 5th year, and we're very proud of that.
Exactly. Let me share something with you now. This picture right here. Okay. Now, 1969, the Temptations, made a song called Psychedelic Shack. Okay. Where we performed that right here, it's in a small little venue on Woodward Avenue. It's called the Psychedelic Healing Shack. Wow.
Psychedelic Healing Shack.
Yeah, that's the place where we have performed at.
Wow. See, now that's again, that's full circle. Spiritual goes around. And we was talking earlier before you popped in about, Ball of Confusion, Psychedelic Shack, how they changed with the times. They changed their dress. They went from the slick to the afro. You know what I'm saying? The album covers were a little more funky. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Barry Gordy, the genius in him, he was always one step ahead.
Yes, he was.
And see, people say what they want. I don't get into what people do or don't do. I just look at the results and take what I can from it, man. We're going to show this video of you guys getting down too, and then we're going to come back and chat with you a little bit more. Y'all hang tough out there, funk from the front seat, every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My guest today, Michael Salter the Third, is in the house.
That's your heart, man.
Yo, we have fun over here, bro. It's all about fun, bro. All my guests, they always chat me up later and say, yo, man, I had fun. Yo, Mark, we good back there, bro? All right, let's run it. Thank you, sir.
Come on, everybody, put your hands together like this. Come on. Well. Oh. The year was 1972. That's when the Temptations won 3 Grammy Awards and 2 American Music Awards for this song. This song goes out to all the papas in the world. Now, Paul, look out now. Oh, yeah, you know what he's doing, y'all. Terry, what you got, man? Okay. Brother's looking good. All right, sir, what you got, man? That's 3, y'all. Show what you got, man. Well. Well. Let me put myself into this, y'all. September, the day I always remember. Yes, I will. 'Cause that was the day that my daddy died. I never got a chance to see him. There was no nothing but bad things about him. Mama, I depended on you to tell me the truth. Mama, how can you say, son? Papa was a rolling stone. Well, yeah. Wherever he laid his hat was home. All these was the Lord. Well. Papa was a rolling stone. My son, yeah. Wherever he laid his hat was home. All these was the Lord. What they say that Papa never worked a day in his life. Some bad talk going around town saying Papa had 3 other times too. And I know the why. That is right. Heard my Papa doing some storefront preaching. Talk about Satan soul all the time. Stealing in the name of the Lord. Everybody put your hands together. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was home. Papa was a rolling stone. Somebody. Wherever he laid his hat was home. Let's get a song back on. Chasing women and drinking. Mama, I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. Everybody, Mama, just Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was home. That's what the Lord, my daddy, Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was home.
Oh my God, dude, bro. Oh, I was sitting here on the side, you know, when the camera goes off, I can do what I want. You know what I mean? And I'm chilling, right? And I'm like, yo, that's a Temptations. I'm telling you, that's it. That I hope everybody out there watching understands what you put into that one song and what y'all did. Kudos to you. I'm man, that's an honor to even have that video on my show, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you
right now, man. And if that brother don't look like his father, I ain't me. I ain't me. Because I was like, what? So when you guys are on tour, right, and you're doing your thing, whatever, and you're bringing something special to the fabric of society and the musical quilt that me and my guys call it, how do you relate to today's music not feeding the soul?
I'm gonna tell it to you like this. The late great Maurice White of Earth, Wind & Fire has said, today's music is in the crossroads, which that is true. The younger generation, I don't take anything for what they're doing right now, more power to them. They sing about songs that goes in what's going on in their society. Me, Terry, Paul, Sturge, and WT, we sing about love. We sing about life. We sing about the real issues that's going on in our world, past, present, and of course, what's going to happen in the future. Okay? So, singing real lyrics is what makes a difference.
Yeah.
We're not out here talking about money, power, what this young generation is doing. Everybody going to make money. Everybody going to have some kind of power. Everybody going to have their respect. But respect the music. You could do anything you want to as far as music, as long as you ain't disrespecting anybody. We don't need nobody calling people H's and B's and they ain't S and all that kind of crap. Sing real music. Sing real lyrics. That's what's going to make a difference. If you love what you're doing, respect the music. That's all you have to do is respect it. We don't want to hear nobody about, what they wear or they Daisy Dukes or they thongs or whatsoever. Let's just come on. Let's just sing real music. Enjoy real music. If you want people to see you perform, they're going to pay their money to see you. As long as you don't say all that foul language, we don't need that.
Bro, let me tell you something. Every time I climb this ladder in this journey of Funk from the Front Seat, and every single artist, I've even had hip-hop artists on, right? We all are trying to send the same message to these people. Stop living in the dark with all your bullshit. And I have to say it like that because you're right. I don't care what kind of sneakers you're wearing. I don't care what kind of jewelry you blinging. I don't care if you on all these sports shows and you're supposed to be a musician, this and that. I could care less. What I care about is what you said. Ain't no woman like the one I got. Or, you know what I'm saying? That's the way of the world. Or Temptations, Ball of Confusion. People moving out, people moving. See, that's feeding the brain. And when you feed the brain, you feed the third eye. And when you feed the third eye, you feed the spirit. And I'm so glad you said that because I'm going to be cutting this year's shows up, putting out shorts. That's going to be one of my best shorts right there. Why do you think the industry, besides greed and corporate divisiveness, why do you think people in the industry are afraid to break away? Some of them are trying. iHeart bought out everything. This one venue can't play here. How do you think we can break away from that and pool our money together to make it bigger than what it is?
I think it's easy to break away. First of all, you got to continue to have faith. You got to pray every day. My pastor shared with me some years ago when I was going through a situation because there's going to be a time and place we're all going to be in darkness. Okay.
Yeah.
And he said people are going to do anything that they want to do to get the best of you, which will make you a victim. And we don't want to be victims. We rather be victorious rather than being victims. You cast those cares out, pray to the Almighty, because there is an easy way to get away, and that is to walk. Walk away from everything. Deal with somebody that you could trust in this industry, rather than somebody going to say, okay, we got you here, we got you there. Don't worry about a thing. It's all going to be taken care of. And then 9 times out of 10, it's not. Look at New Edition when they first came out with their first album, then to their second album. These guys couldn't wait to get their first check, and all they got was $3.98 because they were stuck in a time warp with a producer. And then they finally got out the darkness. So you could easily get out the darkness and just walk away when you want to say to yourself, I'm being sick and tired of being sick and tired. God opens doors. You ever heard the old saying, let your fingers do the walking through the yellow pages?
That's right.
And it goes, and you climbing up the ladder, and you keep on climbing and climbing and climbing. And as long as you climbing up, there is going to be a blessing. When one door shuts, another door opens. So continue to climb that ladder. If you had to do it all by yourself, do it by yourself. Don't depend on no one.
Hey, yes. Boom. Yo, I gotta hit you, man, because you lighten up the thread. First of all, well said, Dr. Brookenstein, my guys up in Philly D. But first of all, a big shout out to my other crew. I ain't gonna forget you guys, man. James Vickers, Vincent Steiners, Michael Patterson, and Curtis Wilcox. Of course, you know, my girl Jen Vanderput, love you, man. But you know, Dr. Brookenstein 69 said, you know, well said, Michael, you know, because these people feel what we feel. Jen Vanderput, I'm putting up her comment right now, and you know, she said so true. The expensive look is a trap. Drape your soul in splendor instead. Boom. High five to you, Jen, for that. You know, and of course, Dr. Brooks, preach, Michael, preach. Because here's the problem. And I have 2 daughters, 115, 119. We recently tried to connect again. I gave them some gifts, and they'll get back to me when they can. But I know the love is there, so I love them, Caleb. You know, ain't no worries. Dad got you, man. So, what you just said needs to be on a giant billboard poster running along Times Square daily. How do you feel about the same situations in the gospel music?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Have to, bro. We locked in, bro. We locked in.
You have the old traditional gospel. You have the secular gospel, and you got the gospel music of today. I'm not trying to be sarcastic about this.
Nah, this is real,
when you go back to the early years of gospel, and you're talking about Mahalia Jackson, you're talking about Reverend James Cleveland, you're talking about Andre Crouch. God rest their souls. You're also talking about the 5 blind boys of Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
The Fairfield 4, the Soul Stirrers.
Harmonizer 4.
Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on and on. When you talk about the Soul Stirrers, you talk about former the people that was in the gospel field before they went to secular. I mean, you talking about no other than Sam Cooke and Bobby Womack and Lou Rawls. They was all a part of that gospel quartet, and they just went on and broke barriers. Okay, and you know, these are some of my favorite entertainers. So you know, you look at people in the gospel field, and then there's more to be said. I mean, you got Reverend Rance Allen, God rest his soul. You got the Winans, you got the Clark sisters. It's just so many. Daryl Coley, God rest his soul, probably one of the greatest male gospel singers around. And And then you look at today's gospel field. I don't take anything away from the Ty Tribbett's, the Kirk Franklin's, Corn Hawthorne. You know, as long as they spreading the message, that's one thing. As long as you spread the message, that's one thing. Don't have a big ego about this. Okay. Gospel music, I love it. As long as the younger generation is spreading the message and they're not talking about anybody and it's all about God, I'm with it. You can't tell the Winans, Clark sisters, Jay Moss, you can't tell them brothers and sisters nothing. They know it. You can't tell Tamala Mann anything, and Jacqueline Carr, who I love, this young sister. She's an evangelist as well as a singer. You know, and David Mann and Israel Holton. You know, I love them all. Keep the tradition alive.
I think
make it holy. Continue to preach the word. Preach the word that's going to make sense.
Yeah. I think that the some of the stuff that's a sellout, we all know what that is. A lot of the music, you know, is not really in the pocket. You know, as a drummer and a bass player myself, I look for that. Now, it's okay, right? But sometimes, you know, if you really want to make the P-Funk, that's why I'm into that funk, hit that pocket. And I think that's what I personally miss in a lot of the stuff. I work with Jeff Roberson in New York, amazing gospel artist, and, you know, he's got some great stuff out. But that's just me personally.
You know, there's one thing that after everything we talk about the history of R&B, the history of pop music as well, and I really haven't said anything about the P-Funk. Now, I'm glad that we had an opportunity to meet, first of all, by phone. And now, I could talk about the P-Funk.
I know you know.
Oh, my gosh, man.
That's another show.
I'm going to share something with you. I had bad grades in as I just barely got promoted to the 7th grade. And my mom would not let me. I had one bad card marking. I broke down, cried. She was not going to let me see Parliament Funkadelic featuring the Brides of Funkenstein in 1970.
Ooh.
In 1977, 78, one of them years. It was one of them years. I know that for sure. It was
78.
78. It was at the Masonic Temple in Detroit. And the Brides of Funkenstein opened up. Okay. My mama almost may not let me went to that concert because I had bad grades. I told my mom, I broke down, cried, said, I will make it up. Please let me do it. I'll make it up. Well, let me think about it. I'll make it up. And I went with my play cousins. And she let me go. My play uncle told her, look, let him go. I will give him his tail if you don't get his grades together. And since then, I made up for it. I went to see Parliament Funkadelic. The mother shit came from up on the ceiling. And you know, they had the circle, you know, the lights was around the circles, you know. And I enjoyed that concert. I couldn't wait till they song Tear the Roof Off the Sucker. Cause that was my first jam from them.
Boom.
Later on down the line, everybody had their Earl Flynn singing Flashlight. Everybody, and my other favorite was Sir Nose, the Border Psycho Disco Beta Fire Akadoodoo. You know what I'm talking about. So that was my jam. That was my jam there. And you know, I loved everything from Parliament Funkadelic. You know, the same way with when James Brown brought that funk, AWB brought that funk, and of course my main man Bootsy Collins. So yes, the P-Funk will never die. George Clinton, you know, made it happen. The P-Funk will never die, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, it's funny that we all, somewhere along the line, if you out there and you was jamming, that funk hit you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was just somewhere you're going to get it.
Yeah, One Nation Under the Groove, Knee Deep. You know, they added Felipe Wynn, former of the Spinners, to sing on that track in 1979. Of course.
When and you being who you are, of course, we're hanging out with the amazing, you know, Michael Salter III, man. So honored to be up and hang out with this brother, man. You just said something funny because you said your grades He was like, no, if they come through, I got to make sure my grades are tight. See, now that's some old school stuff right there.
But that's old school right there, and your parents didn't play.
Woo! See, now deep down, and this is just my theory on your mom, I think she was gonna always let you go. She just had to stress you out a little bit, so you would really get the message, because she knew you was gravitating towards music.
And that's what you call tough love, right there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because my father told me I couldn't play Little League football or get bands and none of that. I had to have like at least a C or above. I could not go below that.
Yeah,
you know? And he made sure. He said, yo, you ain't doing none of this unless you got your dome right. You know?
That is right.
Yo, I'm going to bring my... Mark, you back there, bro? Or what are you doing? Stop flirting with those ladies. I see you.
No flirting here because they've all left the building. The quotas have left the building.
Okay, now great. Now, this is my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, Michael Salter III, for the first time on our show. Is this brother not fire?
Oh, he's been on fire. I've been listening to him talking about that old school. Y'all had me thinking about those switches, which I know he knows about as well, because they have you go out and get the switch, and if you brought the small switch, you better go get a bigger switch and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's from down there in the deep south around Alabama, so I know he knows about that and all along those lines. So I was definitely catching out what y'all was saying and everything, but definitely,
even though I know I was raised in Detroit, and but you see me wearing the Philadelphia 76er hat because one brother, Julius Erving, who is
my guy. Yo, dude, he's my favorite.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Before Jordan, before Dominique, before all these young guys, could nobody touch Julius Erving. I don't care if Julius Erving had one championship ring compared to what Jordan had 6, compared to what Magic had 5, or Kareem had 6, or Isaiah had 2. Yes, Jordan had 6. Julius Erving won a championship before he came to the NBA. So, and it shows you how much accomplishment. He was my favorite basketball player of all time. Why? Because he wore my favorite shoe, Converse.
Yeah. See, here's what, and really quick, Mark, I'm going to let you get in, but I got to share this. First of all, Michael, you my main guy now because I'm a Julius Dr. J guy. I'm from Long Island. He was from Roosevelt. I saw him playing the blacktop, right?
Oh, yes.
Yo, I'm telling you. And see, he used to play at the Nassau Coliseum. So we used to go see him for $7. The ABA at the time, the NBA merged. They wanted the three-point line. They wanted Dr. J. They wanted David Thompson. They wanted George Gervin. They wanted Moses Malone to come to the NBA. That's why they did the merger in the first place. And then they want the Indiana Pacers to have an NBA team in the middle of the country. Dr. J should be on the Mount Rushmore. He don't get enough credit. He's up there to me on that fabulous 5 or 4. That's all I'm going to say.
No, you exactly said that right. And I will agree totally 100% with you.
We got this. You know what? Me and you gonna do like Stevie did for Martin Luther King. We gonna storm the Capitol, DC, and make sure Dr. J gets his rightful place. Yo, Mark, quick question, man. What do you think of this brother in relation to the stuff we were talking about earlier? You can ask him whatever questions you down with, bro.
No, a couple of things. One, I was definitely enjoying y'all's conversation, enjoying what y'all were talking about. And by the way, as you know, I am a fan of Dr. J, and also I'm a Marquette fan, and of course one of our great players named himself after Dr. J, that being Doc Rivers. So Doc Rivers actually is part of the reason he came up with that name, was because he was somewhat trying to emulate Dr. J. But the question I had for you, Mr. Salter, is I was watching those moves, and y'all had those moves down pat and everything, and I'm down here in Durham, which is a choreographer's heaven, because we got a lot of choreographic people here and everything, so a lot of choreographers and everything. But how long did it take you to learn those steps? Because we know those steps take a while and everything, and if you maybe give a shout out to the dance choreographers that were helping you in that space, because we know that it was part of the tradition of that whole Motown sound. But when I was watching y'all had those moves down pat, but I was wondering who helped you get those moves and how long it took you to get those dance steps down.
Well, since I've been, I collaborated with these guys early, and things just didn't go in a direct perspective. But when I came back for the past 2 years, all the guys helped me out as far as the routine. By me being a dancer and choreographer, they all taught me very, very well. And then I just carried, they didn't realize I pick up real quick. And so one of the guys asked me, Mike, I saw you pick up you carry these routines real quick. What happened back then? I said, well, back then was a lot of you know, misunderstandings. There was some things wasn't really in perspective for what y'all was coming on. But now that everything is in better perspective, like I said, I'm a quick learner by me being a choreographer, so I carry on real quick.
Wow. Well, like I said, you did a real good job there. Y'all kind of alluded to it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts around this and everything. What is your thoughts around the state? Because I come from a background of radio, mostly the small radio stations and not the commercial radio stations. But I'm just wondering, as one that knows how important radio was to the development of Motown, what is your thoughts around modern radio and even the modern performance venues and all along those lines? What are your thoughts around that?
When I listen to radio, I grew up listening to a lot of great disc jockeys. The one that inspired me most in Detroit was the Butterball Jr. It was something about his energy that he carried through radio, because this man will, be on morning radio, and next thing you know, he'll meet and greet everybody. He'll make you laugh. He'll make you cry. He loves to talk through music, and he gave a lot of great interviews in years past, and notice that God rest his soul. He passed on over the last, might have been about 3 years now, but it was his legacy, his spirit that motivated me to DJ at times, and he was an all-around great disc jockey. Radio today, and you got so much internet radio. You got computerized radios, all different types. It's not the same as from it was in the early days of WCHB in Detroit, WJLB in Detroit, USL in Philadelphia, as well as WGAS, and all other stations. Back then you had legendary DJs, to motivate you and play your favorite music. Some of these disc jockeys today, I don't take anything away from them. Some still been around for the past 40 years or so, but you look at these new DJs. Like I said, I don't take anything away from what's going on in today's radio, but I'm more into legendary radio. And you still got radio stations that are still around to this day. It may not be the same because of different generations, but if you still got these long-term DJs that still DJing, it's going to still make you motivated. Just listen to them.
No doubt about that. Hey, just really quick, and this is for both you and Zach and everything. Do you miss the days of radio stations that literally would go out and be part of the community? Because I don't see enough radio stations now that are actually involved in the community, because there was a time that you would find the DJ literally out in the park, literally in the different places, and I don't think that we see enough of that nowadays. But I was just wondering y'all's take on that, because I think that that's something that radio is missing, is that connection to the greater community, whether that community is Philadelphia, whether it's New York, or whether it's Los Angeles, or even right here in the triangle area of Durham and Raleigh. But what is y'all's thoughts around that? Would you like to see more DJs actually be involved in the community?
Zach, go ahead, you start off.
Oh yeah. Cool. Thanks, man. And for those you watching, Michael Salter III, he's definitely down and doing his thing solo as well. Funk from the Front Seat welcomes him, and he's part of the amazing group that you guys just saw in the video. Featuring Paul Williams Jr., MJ. But my thoughts on that, Mark, are two things, and I'm gonna keep it quick. Number one, I think DJs and stuff like that, the internet has kind of taken the fact that you could take music with you wherever you go now has kind of taken some of that away. And the other part is that people don't want to talk to people no more. So everybody puts on buzz, this and that and the third, right? So I think we're hearing the same thing. We're just not hearing it collectively. Right. And like you said, to your point, them being back at the community would probably solve some of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What's your thoughts on that, Mr. Salter?
Well, everything that Zach said, he basically took the words out of my mouth, because of the fact that what he said was absolutely true. You don't see a lot of radio stations be out here and doing community work. And once upon a time, when the legends of radio was out there, they was giving away albums, they was giving away souvenirs, concert tickets, all the above, chances for you to win a car. this generation of people right now, well, they out here now, they'll give you something free, but it's not like how radio used to be. As I mentioned, in every other radio stations, like in Chicago and Philadelphia, New York and Boston, Los Angeles, Miami, here in Detroit, Minnesota. That's why I said classic golden radio will never die. It will still stand to this day. The legendary disc jockeys who are still here, it's going to make a difference to try to encourage people to get out there in the streets and help the community.
Yo, man, Mark, let me tell you something. I know your family came from that background, but thank God they did, man. And we ain't going to hold this brother too much longer, man. But, check this out. I want to continue to have you on the show because you bring so much wisdom. So, I'm going to make sure that, we here now with some things, man. And because my audience needs to hear this. I need to hear it, and I document everything, cut up shorts, put it back out, and everything else, man. So I'm going to do my very, very best, man, to open Funk from the Front Seat, to you as a platform when you got new music, when you want to come on, when you want to chat or whatever, man, because you're definitely what this is about. I want to say that right off the top. But Mark, thank you so much for your hard work, man. Let's give this brother the full screen, man, and then we're going to get out of here, so we can cut time and we can get on about our day. Again, it's been an amazing show. January is going to be full of them. This whole year is going to be dope. Y'all check it out. Michael Salter III, yo.
And keep in mind, we also, February the 17th, we'll be in Beaton Park, California, with Prison Doctor, MLB Hall of Famer Darryl Strawberry, and also David Ruffin Jr. is going to be a part of that going on Saturday, February the 17th at CW Auditorium. That's where the place is at. It's in celebration of Black History Month in the NAACP. So that's
okay. Let me put that on the thread. Where is it again? I'm gonna put it on the thread so everybody can see it.
Okay. Better yet, I want
or link or something.
I want to send you the flyer.
Send me that. And then I'll make sure it goes on my page. Perfect.
Then I also will send you the flyer of what's going to be taking place St. Patrick's Day weekend, Saturday, March the 16th, out in Dallas, Texas, at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters. We'll be on that program along with Jenda Harris, Fat Daddy, the PC Band, Dion Harris, and of course Lamar Deuce Lubin, who was formerly the group DRS when they had their 1993 single Gangsta Lean. This is for my homies.
Diamonds in the back, sunroof top.
Yeah. No, not that one. That's William Devon.
Not that?
Not that one. That's William Devon when he did it in 1974, 50 years ago.
Okay.
DRS was a group that came out 30 years ago, and they had a song called Gangsta Lean, which I thought the song was called "This Is For My Homies."
I got to hear it then. I got to go back.
You may remember that.
Heard of it. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Once you hear it, better yet, I post it to you.
Man, I got to hear that because the only one I ever heard Gangsta Lean was that other song.
Yeah,
I want to hear that, man, because I get ideas for stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's William Devon. Be thankful for what you got.
Yeah, man. Yo, too, man. My new stuff coming out. I got to get you on some music too, bro. This is gonna be fun. You definitely gonna be singing vocals on some of my shit.
And one final thought. Well, thank you, Zach, for having the pleasure for having me here. And then a shout out to me, Brian, the wonderful, wonderful disc jockey, singer, house music extraordinaire. The song that she got, "Love What I Want," is coming out and it's going like crazy. And if you have not seen the video, she featured me in the video dancing.
Yo, so your final thoughts, man, to our audience. I always give my guests the full screen. Anything you want to say, man, words of encouragement or anything, man, I'm going to give you a minute or two, then we get ready to get out of here, all right?
Okay. So once again, my shout out to Mion Bryant. Thank you, Mion, for introducing me to Zach and the whole P-Funk family, and shout out to Raleigh, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, all parts of North Carolina for having the opportunity. I promise that you will definitely see Paul, WT, Sturge, and Terry, as we will all do a group interview as well. They may have special guests on the side. Our schedules are very, very busy, but like I said, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Mion. Thank you, my man who was just on here. We still need to support the P-Funk Foundation. That's going to never die. Old school is going to never die. And I'm going to put you like this in prayer. Thank you, Lord. for all that you've done for us. How excellent is your name. We give you glory, honor, and praise now and forevermore. Watch over Zach. Watch over the brother who was just on here as well. Watch over Mion. Watch over this talented group. Just watch over everybody, Lord, as we continue to go through the highways and the byways, or where we go into our destinations and arrivals. Watch over our president. Watch over everyone that's in this entire world that may be going through a little trial tribulations. But remember, we count it all joy. All the power belongs to you. We give you the glory and honor and praise now and forevermore in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yo, amen. Yo, well said, bro. I'm loving that, bro. We're going to end with this again in honor of all the people, all of the cultures, all of the different nations that came together to understand about Dr. Martin Luther King. And a lot of times it glosses over the millennials. They don't know the significance and importance of this date for people that were actually there. So for you guys out there, we're going to end the show in honor of that. Thank you again. I'll have you on once again, bro. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. I'll be calling you later on today or sending you a little message or whatever, man. And shout out to your group. Much love to your mom and dad and your family, man. So everybody out there on the thread, you guys were super duper amazingly hot today. I love you all. We'll be in touch, and y'all take care. Peace.
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. And every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day with all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when we capital, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are